How much is that new Toyota Camry smell worth to you? 5 grand? 10 grand perhaps? What about $700,000? Does that seem reasonable? It might be unbelievable, but stick with me to the end and I'll explain why owning a new car could cost you as much as a McMansion or even early retirement. With the average new car payment sitting at about $700 a month, the recent supply chain issues, and the resulting inflation of vehicle prices that we've experienced beginning to show signs of softening, I thought we should take a step back and take a longer-term look at why habitually buying new cars over the long haul is still the worst financial decision you can ever make. Aside from maybe YOLOing your 401k into the latest Wall Street bets pump and dump. Car companies and dealerships have perfected their sales and marketing over the years to create a magical fantasy for us all. A new car will change your life, give you the freedom you deserve, and the adoration of your friends and neighbors, along with dependable reliability, all for a mere $700 a month. After all, some of our greatest memories are made in a car. Summer road trips, first dates, bringing your firstborn home from the hospital, or teaching your kid how to drive. It makes sense why we find it easy to justify spending so much money on new vehicles. But let's take the emotion out of the decision-making for a second and just look at the numbers and see why borrowing money at interest and then paying to maintain a massively depreciating asset is terrible for your finances. Like, really terrible. Let's start with depreciation first. We'll use the average out-of-the-door price for a new car, which is about $42,000 right now. We'll do a $4,000 down payment, which gives you a monthly payment of $708.43 over 60 months at 4.5%. Sounds reasonable, right? The second you sign the paperwork, that shiny new car is now worth 10% less than it was, just 1 minute previously. That's $4,200 you've just lost immediately, and you didn't even get a free margarita with it. After 1 year, it's worth 20% less, or $8,400 down the toilet in the first 12 months. After 5 years, that number sits at about 60%, depending on the vehicle, or $25,200 lost on the value of the car. So, how about instead of paying $42,000 for that car, what if you bought it at 4 or 5 years old? The value would be $16,800 for the same car, and we can let someone else cover all that front-end depreciation. That puts you here on that depreciation curve, instead of here. Let's assume you put the same $4,000 down on the same terms. Your monthly payment would be $238.63. That's a saving of $470 a month. Awesome, right? Now, let's take that $470 a month that you've saved and put it into an appreciating asset, such as a property, or maybe a low-risk mutual fund that maybe returns 8% a year over time. If you did this every month for 30 years, you'd have a whopping $705,609. This is the magic math of appreciating assets, compounding interest, and time all working together. It can be difficult to comprehend, but it's the recipe for how the legendary Warren Buffett has got so rich.
Simple concept, but over time, it accomplishes extraordinary things.
And it's a strategy he's preached his entire career. We might not get Warren Buffett rich from this, but if you have 2 or 3 cars in your household, or maybe you're buying a brand new $90,000 fully loaded limited F-150 every 3 years, if you start messing with these numbers just a little, then the long-term gains are really life-changing. Still feeling smug about owning that new car? Okay, I can hear you all screaming, "But the supply chain!" in the comments. And you'd be correct. The car market's absolutely ballooned recently due to chip shortages and general supply chain issues causing low dealer inventory and cars selling for well above MSRP, both new and used. But as it looks like the end is in sight, with supply and dealer inventories increasing and demand decreasing, if we step back and look at the longer-term picture, this was an 18 to 24-month blip on a very long-term trend. So while the calculations I just made might not stack up exactly at every point over a 30-year period, if you smooth it out over time, accounting for the peaks and troughs in the market, it's still solid math. And remember, these are just averages. A Jeep Wrangler, for example, will only depreciate by 27%, whereas a top-end BMW can lose 75% of its value in 5 years. What about reliability and warranty? New cars are more reliable than lightly used cars, right? No, it's actually the opposite. Many cars in the first production year have various problems and snags and undergo a number of recalls. Brand new cars routinely have problems that must be repaired. For example, the new Jaguar F-Pace SUV had immediate issues with frozen infotainment screens and front differential leaks. The assumption that new cars don't have as many problems as lightly used cars is no longer true. And this is backed up by annual studies by Consumer Reports and J.D. Power. When you purchase a lightly used vehicle, these initial problems and recalls have usually been worked out and fixed. And many manufacturers, such as Kia, stand by long-term reliability with 100,000-mile and 10-year warranties. You'll also find that dealerships offer similar warranties on their approved used vehicles as they do on their new vehicles. In short, you'll get fewer reliability problems from a lightly used vehicle than you will from a brand new one from the factory. How about leasing? Leasing deserves another video to itself, but it's as bad, if not worse, than financing a new car. Leasing is priced in such a way that you pay for the depreciation of the vehicle, in addition to interest on the loan, plus profit for the dealership. You then give the vehicle back, and you're left with nothing apart from a $35,000 hole in your finances. The only time leasing a vehicle is perhaps justifiable is for cars with very unpredictable depreciation curves, such as supercars or very high-end exotics. So, my advice? Buy an approved 5-year-old car with a warranty. Put as much cash down as possible, and whatever you're saving each month on the payment, invest it in an appreciating asset. Come back and thank me in 30 years. But for now, just hit the like and subscribe buttons for the algorithm and we'll call it even. Thanks for watching.